Good afternoon. I'm Kohei Nawa. Right now, I create a sculpture in Kyoto, and in the art field, I'm trying to emit messages. And 5 years ago, I established a studio called Sandwich. And there, in the past 4 or 5 years, I have been engaged in more than 100 projects. So art is the core or the center. There's architecture, design, video. So various outputs are something that I'm creating. And at the same time, there's a simple residence facility, so young artists from all over the world have started together. Kyoto, there are 6 art universities, so there are students from those art universities gathering. So we have an educational aspect. So I'd like to share with you some of the activities as well as some of our works. This is Fushimi area of Kyoto. There's a studio. The Sandwich is the name. And this is gray. It used to be a sandwich factory, actually. Yamasaki Bread used to make sandwiches here. So we renovated this. So this is where we have our projects. About 40 people work here as an office. And there's a project management office. Also, art projects are going on. So there's a production team as well. And this has also become the architectural office. So the houses and the museums, we are working on those architectures. We take pictures and we use the graphic technology. So there's a graphic team. So the new art output, technical development, and also the material research is something that we do. Kishiya Shinoyama, the photographer, came. So I myself continue to work on those sculptures and the works. And there are also other projects and various technologies and the material manufacturers come here for the meetings. So this has become a major platform. So on the flat space, we have our students, artists, architects, designers. They get together in the same place to eat together. So we think together, we come up with the ideas, and create together. So as we do this, even when we are doing the art project or architectural project, we are just right next to each other. So we stimulate each other, and our ideas stimulate each other. So it's more efficient. 40 to 50 different small projects and large projects are going on at the same time. So it's very busy. In the past 4 or 5 years, when I look back, my memories are quite mixed up because of all those projects. Now about my own work. The word cell. Cell means various different things, but our body is made of cells. And what we make, and in the material world, we have cells. So understanding the world from the perspective of the cell, and to consider a work or the product as a continuation of the cell. And this has a close affinity to the human body, and this can be well connected to what we do. So this is the word that we use. So since 10 years ago, we combined the word picture and cell, and we created the concept of the PixCell. So in the computer area, there's a box cell or the volume cell, and also texture cell or text cell. Those are also very interesting from the sculpting perspective.
of course, PixCell because of picture elements, but picture and cell, PixCell would be for the sculpture concept. This is the PixCell sculpture. Motifs collected over the internet is the subject. This is deer. And we have crystal glass cubes placed on the surface, so the object could only be viewed through a lens. And our eyes are a lens as well, so we are looking at the world through a lens. With the digital camera becoming more popular, everything, the surface of everything could be replaced by digital representation, meaning that on the surface of the planet Earth, we'll have more lenses, and the information obtained would explode. So digitization and pixelization are the artifact of our sensitivity becoming closer to our body. So initially, you might think that it's going far from our body, but actually it is getting closer to the mechanism, the principle of human bodies. So PixCell can be applied to sculptures. I've been doing this for more than 10 years. About 700 motifs have been converted into these. And these are the beads placed on the computer cell. So that's PixCell on pixel. And this is Prism series. Within one cell, one motif is included. The surface is covered with prism sheet. Motif is inside, but it could seem like two, or it might disappear. So although it is there, it could be viewed only as an image. You can't touch it. That's the reality, is what I was trying to create here. And here, inside the box, silicone oil is contained, which is emitting the white light. And if you see it from the top, you see bubbles. Silicone oil is used to erase bubbles in industrial application. It's a liquid where bubbles will disappear very quickly. And we are injecting oil at fast speed, so you get bubbles in a grid manner, but it has the property to erase the bubbles. So you're going to see a sort of capsules, layers of bubbles. So it appears as though you're looking into a monitor when you see it from the top, but there are matters, and there's a texture of silicone oil. And molecular-wise, silicone oils is like halfway between the organic and inorganic matters. So it appears as if, or it feels as if it is, you are in one, your body is in one with the outside. And this is the foaming polyurethane. When you go to shopping malls or industrial facilities, you see many displays and objects in the entertainment facilities. As a university student, I had this part-time job of creating those. And they look very hollow, quick and dirty. It was the FRP type of objects being created, very speed. So it's very void in terms of surface. And we see more and more of these in urban settings. And it's like it is expanding. So scum, like a scum of a soup. And this is another example. And here, using 3D technology, I am working on sculptures more recently. So you do the scanning on 3D, convert it into voxel data, which turns into sculptures. This is a very simple program. The program itself was developed within our studio, scanned data, are projected, and like drawing, we put many markings on the surface, contracted or expanded to get a more abstract sculpture. This is a solid aluminum being sculptured to a real size sculpture. The deformed body and the real body put together. And this is a 7-year-old girl. The surface has a brush strokes, sort of melting like a soft ice cream texture. And this 3-year-old, 4-year-old boy and girl, chocolate, peanut chocolate type of surface, bumpy. It's 2.5 meters high, so this was a rather dynamic one. And this one, Korean band called Big Bang. Top is a member of that band, and he was the client. And this art player, a musician, was converted into this art. Holding a gun, we scanned that, and with a stroke, very strong stroke, we converted that into a sculpture. Depending on which direction you're looking at it from, the color changes. So the object is there, but it exists as information, so to speak. So that's what I was trying to create here. And this is from the spring of this year on a small island called Inujima on the Japanese Mediterranean. Biota is the name of this project. I have a video I'd like to show you.
これがその瀬戸内にある
This is the Japanese inland sea. Very small island called Inujima. The population, 45. Average age, 75 years old. It's a very deserted community. And this was part of the Setouchi Triennale, aimed at revitalizing the community through art and economy. Kazuo Sejima designed this. Within this old house, we had our works of art. And this is Biota, or Biota. Architecture and sculpture combination was new experience for me. But personally, since I became interested in architecture as well, this was a very good, very important opportunity to think about the potential of architecture and sculpture. This is the center, very spacey area, white, bubbly objects representing the essence of matter, like entropy. The matter is trying to become three-dimensional, and yet it can't, so it almost collapses. And then a strong light is emitted, and so this matter is trying to transform itself toward that light, like a big bang. And you can create this manually, but to adjust to architecture, to have the spatial coordination, I created in a 3D manner the dextral device was created where I could actually touch the inside of this program. There are 2 Tubonia outdoors, fauna garden and flora garden. 2 gardens focusing on animals and plants. So from the sculpture or the object at the center, the light, gravity changes takes place, and new life form are created on these 2 gardens. Could be boys, could be deer, representing a messenger from a deity. which will have the spirits being injected, coming out of the ground. This is the flora garden, the plant garden. Inujima is an island where you find many minerals when you're walking around, and minerals have very interesting, attractive texture, and mineral energy coming out of the ground, and new plant existence and presence being born. Could be Earth, could be some other planet. As the symbol of life, plant was created.
それから、
And after this Inujima project, following this experience, there was another project that was very important to me this summer called foam. In Aichi Triennale, which is still ongoing for another 10 days or so, at Narahashi site, I created this installation. In the Inujima project, I thought about the flora and fauna. When organisms are born on Earth, as they evolve, and when I think of that process, I got interested in the primordial form. You can hear the foam sound. Foam is bubble. And this woman is walking. It's a rather large area, dark, and on the ground, dark rocks are laid. And when you walk on top of that, the foam objects expand in front of you. This was a very analog product using technology. Maybe this could have been done 100 years ago. So the installation itself is rather old as well. Very analog method being used here. And the
でないぐらい成長する。
surfactant and foam in use, the perfect ratio was pursued so as to grow the foam every day. And as you walk in, you encounter this gigantic matter, which almost gives you a feeling that you walked into a different planet, not Earth. So primordial thing being born, your existence. What is cell? Those questions come to your mind. For me, this was almost a culmination of all of the previous projects. And finally, but not the least, there were many large projects that worked on this year. Prior to the Aichi Triennale, I placed a very large installation in Korea, outdoor, the largest one that I've ever worked on. Took me 2 years. 3D technology was just being applied. And in Korea, the decision was made that this will be made. And when we were moving this from Japan to Korea, it was when this was flying on the airplane that earthquake and tsunami disaster, March 11, occurred. So this is an outdoor installation placed in the middle of a city. So the relationship between the city and humans, the welfare, energy, how humans can work on the artifact, and how that can turn into a thread when the balance is lost was what I was trying to express. That 3D system shown on the left-hand side, that's a device that was used. On a computer graphics, it appears as a normal graphics, but we are using a large tool. So you can connect to the digital plane. So it's almost like using a clay.
So we can create these things in the computer. It is digital and also tactile feeling and physically confirming while sculpting. If this is possible, then any size, very big to very small, we can create a thing called sculpture. So I felt that type of potential. That means this can be deployed into architecture or microscopic or nanotechnology, or sculpture in a microscopic level can be made. This is a sculpture called Manifold. In this case of a manifold, 13.5 meters high, 16 meters wide, 12 meters deep. That's the size. It's like a construction piece. And it's not a level that you can actually feel. It's like a big statue of Buddha in Nara. Very gigantic one. I was thinking that way, but not only being iconic, but you go through underneath, it's a sculpture that you can experience with this volume, the smoothness, or moving sculpture, or dynamism. I've never seen one like this before, so that's what I was trying to build. Like models, computer simulation screens, I carefully consulted them. This manifold relationship between the people and the manifold, energy going out of the ground and then changing, it's like dancing. And suddenly this type of thing appears in the middle of the town. And how this will influence the people's inspiration and image, that's what I'm hoping to see. In this way, art, like not only to deal with the technology in front of you, but in the past, present, and future. It's a big scale to connect them. So media art, in a bad sense, we are not limited to just media art. And the meaning of media changes as well. And together with the development of technology or advancement of technology, people's awareness and the potential of forming, like 3D printer, such potential will be increasing. Not only ease of use on the part of the user, and also by that technology, what can be realized? Though those are two separate things. Therefore, not only using technology, but technology was born for what purposes and for which usages will bring this to a new direction. The artists and creators, they should lead that way. And Kyoto, from Kyoto Studio, I showed you 3 pieces of work this year we made. Well, creator, architecture, art, and design, all inclusive. From the perspective of creator, what we can do, there are more things that we can do. For example, architect has the role to create something, but this type of a forming and the structural computation, simulation technology advancement, the traditional architecture can be regarded as models and technology to realize what has been built. And next is what to build, when, how, with what approaches, like to be incorporated into a society or a city. And that is a very important aspect. Well, thank you very much for your kind attention.